3 in the morning. It's not like it's going to be ready at 5 a.m. because the store is not even open yet. So you learn something new. I learned something new here today. That Target's 2-hour window means 2 hours from when the store opens, not 2 hours from when you place the order. So I just went inside Target, got all the shit myself in the cart and paid for it myself, and then canceled the orders off Target. So any of you order on Target, the only thing they're missing right now, because Whole Foods will get you delivered the same day. You pay for it, but they deliver the same day. Target doesn't quite have that yet. They're probably working on it, but that's the next thing they need. That's not the topic here today. Let's get to talking about Elon Musk and his Tesla's getting attacked. We know why people are doing this. Generally, people are doing it because they don't like Elon Musk, and they don't like Elon Musk because he is standing next to Donald Trump, and also because he put a whole bunch of money, allegedly $130 million, into the Donald Trump / MAGA campaign so that Donald Trump can win the 2024 election. In addition to him buying what used to be called Twitter, now called X, because he wanted to be a free speech absolutist. And I mean, he's not quite a free speech absolutist. So I would suggest to all of you, and some of you may know about this, about a month or two ago, a bunch of people were going on, I forget what the topic was. I forget what they were talking about, but the people were criticizing Elon Musk. These are people with verified accounts on X, and I'm very active on X. If you want to see me go back and forth with people in commentary on social media, the only place I do that is on X. I do not scroll or look at content or comments on any other social media platform except on X. And that's the current events. That's the town square of what's going on in the world. So on X, Elon had did something where a bunch of people were criticizing him. And these were not like leftists who normally criticize him no matter what, for criticizing for breathing. These are people who are on the conservative side. They were criticizing Elon. I can't remember what the topic was, but whatever they were criticizing him for, he went and basically took away those people's verified accounts and took away their subscriptions, basically took away their way to monetize their X accounts because they had criticized him, and they had criticized him loudly to the point that the message reached him. Because you could say something about Elon and he might not even hear it. Like, he might not know I'm talking about him right now, but their messages, their criticisms reached him, and he went and demonetized them off X for doing that. I'm saying that to say, even though he called himself a free speech absolutist, he's not exactly a free speech absolutist. And I defended him when he did this. And I said, you dummies, you're on an app owned by a certain person, and then you think you're going to just openly criticize that person and have a whole bunch of people see it and agree with it and nothing's going to happen. Like, he is still a human. So even though he claimed free speech absolutist and he's an entrepreneur and maybe you think he's just completely objective. No, he's still a human being. If I own an application and you get on that app and start trashing me, yes, I'm going to respond to that, even if I call myself a free speech absolutist. So you shouldn't take those words literally from anybody. If Donald Trump started an app and called himself a free speech absolutist, and then you got on that app and bashed Donald Trump, do you think Donald Trump's going to do something? He probably is. So Elon has been criticized by people on the right and on the left, mostly people on the left. And I think most of the people attacking his Teslas these days are either people on the left who really don't like him, or these are people who just go out and they just stir up stuff because that's just what they want to do for, I don't know, shits and giggles. We don't know. That's what we're going to talk about here today. And let me introduce myself for those of you who are not familiar with me. And even those of you who are, let me remind you, because you might have forgot since yesterday. My name is Baldwin. Many know me as DreAllDay. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete. I'm the author of 41 books. I've done 4 TEDx talks. I created this business called Work on Your Game Incorporated. What we do here is we help professional entrepreneurs systematize and scale up their businesses from the 6-figure level to the 7-figure level. So if you have a professional services based entrepreneurial venture, then you're the type of person that we work with. You can learn more about that by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. And other thing, for those of you who are not familiar with my style, what I do here is I give you about anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes worth of content. And you see I have my handy timer here right now. It says 52 minutes and 45 seconds. This is how much time at the most I will take to go through the content. Those are the points that I'm going to share with you here today. Then we open the floor for discussion in the second half of the conversation, where I will read your comments and questions if I need to take that long. I might not take this long. If you have questions and comments, then we'll address them at that point. And by the way, if you happen to be on TikTok specifically, because TikTok's feed goes very quickly. So anybody who's leaving a comment right now, by the time I get around to actually looking at the comments, I will not see any comment that you're leaving right now. But when I get to the point that I'm actually reading comments, that's when you might want to copy paste or say the same thing again, or just wait till I get there and then I will get to the comment. Now, one comment I am seeing right now is this person named OAF. It looks like you are spamming my comments. So I did notice your comment and now I just had to block you. So that person has to go. So Sometimes I will see a comment if you spam my comments, but spamming my comments will usually get you blocked. So there is one exception to I'm not seeing your comments. So let's get to it. First things first. All right, here's the first housekeeping rule. All of you should understand, whether you're on a political left or political right, whether you love Elon, you hate Elon, whether you love Trump, you hate Trump. First things first is you should not, never, ever, ever commit arson or any type of damage. What's the word? Any type of property damage to property that you don't own. None of you should do that, no matter what your reasoning is. If your boyfriend cheats on you, you should not go break his windshield to his car. Now, you shouldn't go poke the air out of his tires. You probably should not do that. You should not go to, if your girlfriend does something that you don't like, you probably shouldn't go and break all the glasses in her kitchen. Don't do that. All right. Do not go and commit property damage to other people's stuff. Don't go commit property damage to your own stuff. I think even if it's your car and you set it on fire, that's probably still a crime. All right, probably. Any of you who knows the law, I would bet that that's still a crime because it becomes a public nuisance and everybody else has to deal with it. That is criminal activity to do property damage to, especially property that's out in the open. Now, if you want to just break up everything inside of your own house, I guess you can get away with it. What's going on, son? Good morning. Are you coming to join or not? Okay, so my son just said hello. He just woke up. So if you are committing damage to property, that's probably a bad idea, even if it's the stuff in your own house, because eventually you got to clean it up. If you own a house and you break everything up in the house, you got to live in that house. And if you're renting a house and you break everything up in the house, then you might end up losing your security deposit. So this is not a good idea to break up stuff that doesn't belong to you, even stuff that does belong to you, because all this stuff can get you or others hurt and it comes with criminal penalties. So now that we got that out the way, let's go even further in this conversation. And TikTok is showing me swipe left to answer tags. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, on an even more logical level, burning up a Tesla because you don't like Elon Musk. This does nothing, first of all, to Elon Musk. So if you don't like Elon Musk and you don't like what he's doing in Doge and in the government right now, you going and smashing the windows of a random Tesla that you see in Knoxville, Tennessee, or in Denver, Colorado, is not going to do anything to Elon Musk. Because first of all, that the person who's driving that Tesla already paid for the Tesla. So Elon already got what he wanted to get out of it, which is the sale. Now, he made some money off the sale of that vehicle. The only person that you are inconveniencing is the owner of that Tesla, who I'm assuming is somebody who you may not even know. They might even have voted for Kamala. So what are you doing? What exactly are you achieving by doing something like this? They might be a Kamala voter who is, excuse me, a Democrat / Kamala supporter who is driving that Tesla. You went and did something to the Tesla because you're trying to prove a point to Elon Musk. And again, if enough people do it, then I guess it becomes a news item. But is it actually getting the point to Elon? Probably not. Does nothing whatsoever to what he is doing that calls you to not like him. So if you don't like the fact that Elon is going after some things that you believe are helping less resourced Americans through his Department of Government Efficiency, you don't like the fact that he's standing next to Donald Trump. You don't like the fact that he donated $100 million+ to support Donald Trump. You don't like the fact that he and others allegedly were giving people financial benefits for registering to vote and maybe even voting itself. We don't know. I mean, allegedly, this is all theory that people have thrown out there. I got to say that as a disclaimer on TikTok. TikTok's very sensitive kind of things you claim. I don't know if they're as sensitive with things talk about people on the right as people on the left, but let me not get myself suspended from TikTok again, at least not on purpose. All you are doing is hurting the person who owns that car, and they may seek retribution. I would suggest you not go after people's cars because you don't know whose car that is. I've seen situations. I'll give you an example. When I was in college, for example, we were at this off-campus apartment building party. So these people had a party at their off-campus apartment. And this guy I know, he's a black guy. He goes outside of the party at like 2:00 in the morning. He goes out of the party at 2:00 in the morning and he needs to relieve himself. So he starts urinating, and he's urinating right on, or he was either right on or right next to a car. And the person whose apartment was throwing the party was a black guy. And it was a bunch of black people in the party. And the guy who was outside taking a piss, he was also black. Now, the guy whose apartment it was, he sees one of his attendees to his party taking a piss outside on a car. And the black guy who has the apartment says to the guy who's pissing, he says, "Hey, I understand you got to take a piss." He didn't say it in this many words, but he said, "Do not piss on that car right there." And the black guy who's about to take a piss, he's like, "Wow, whose car is it?" And the guy said, "The white boy who lives in that apartment, that's his car." And the black guy was like, well, F that white boy. I don't care. And he's drunk. So he's kind of talking crazy because he's drunk. But at the same time, he heard him. And he said, F that white boy. I don't care nothing about that. Mine was 2 o'clock in the morning. Right. So I'm assuming people in other apartments can hear this conversation going on because they're kind of yelling. And he said, and the guy who has the apartment, he says, yo, that ain't no normal white boy. That's what he said. He said, that ain't no normal white boy. Don't piss on that car. And this guy was from New York. He's this cocky New York guy. Any of you know people from New York City, especially in my experience, black guys from New York, they go to other places. They just had this cockiness that comes with them. Shout out to New York, but this is also true. So he's like, F that white boy. And the guy's like, that ain't no normal white boy. Okay. And I go back inside the party because I'm not caring about this guy taking a piss or that conversation. I'm trying to talk to some girls and see what we're going to be doing at 3 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, I come back outside. The white boy with the car, he woke up. He woke up from whatever he was doing, and he noticed this guy pissing on his car, and this starts a melee. And long story short, this black guy who was taking a piss on that white boy's car got beat up by the white boy outside of this party that particular night. Because again, the thing is, you got to be careful attacking somebody's car because you don't know whose car that is. And that person may seek retribution. You do something to somebody's car just because you're mad at the brand. So if you don't like BMWs, you go and spit on a BMW. You don't know who owns that BMW. They might be walking out of Whole Foods and they might whoop your ass. All right, so you better be very careful. Or they might be carrying some mace or some pepper spray or a taser or a gun. And now something happens to you. And a police officer might see you also. You might end up in court, all behind us. So again, this is not a good idea to attack a car because you don't like Elon Musk. That's stupid. If you don't like Elon Musk, what you should do, I guess, is vote in the midterm elections and in the 2028 elections. Other than that, you got to grit and bear it. Just deal with what's going on right now. Moving on to the next point. We're talking here today about Elon Musk and people allegedly burning up and keying and attacking Teslas as a way of getting Elon Musk's attention. Now, another thing, this actually wasn't even in my one of the things I was going to say, but a lot of people are talking about Tesla stock. Yeah, I've seen this Tesla stock. We got any Tesla stock owners in here? Put the word stock in the comments if you own any Tesla stock. I own Tesla stock. And I saw, and actually I'll show you. Let me pull it up. So I saw people talking about this when Tesla's stock looked to be dropping. And it was dropping for a while. Let's look at it right now. So all you got to do is if you just put in the name of the company and stock, or the stock ticker was for Tesla is TSLA, Tesla stock. It's shown the pricing of the stock. So right now, over the last day, 24 hours, the stock has gone up $9.75, 3.5% in the last day. And people were talking about this because a few weeks ago, maybe a week or two ago, the stock was dropping. And people are like, yeah, Tesla stock is going down and Elon is in crisis mode and he's about to lose everything because Tesla stock is going to go to zero. It's going to be worth absolutely nothing. And Elon is getting his comeuppance for standing next to Trump. He's a bad guy. And this is the response of the people. And this kind of dovetails with the Bernie Sanders and AOC doing their national tour. Again, what they're campaigning for, I have no idea. And people are all excited because they said it looks like Tesla stock is going down. A couple of things that we need to address here. Number one is that Tesla stock is not going to go down that much. All right, so let's go. If I zoom out the 5 days, as you can see, is also up $26, almost 10%. We zoom out to a month, and here's where people were getting all excited. So we zoom out to a month, as you can see, in a month, it has been down 5.7%, down $17 to be exact. And there was a time when the stock was down to about $255, and people were getting all excited. Yeah, Tesla stock is down because it was going down. But over the last, let's see, that was on March 10th. No, what day was this? So it went even lower. So it was $238 on March 10th. March 10th. Today is March 26th. So 16 days later, the stock is now up to $288. So any of you who got excited about that, or you heard that and you thought something was actually going to happen, this is a terrible way of looking at a stock. First of all, if you invest in stocks, you are investing in a stock. You don't look at it. You're not investing in a stock and then you look at it 30 days later and say, it went down. I guess I got to get my money out before I lose more. That's a stupid way of investing. If you invest that way, please read some documentation on investing. Go watch some Warren Buffett videos and or hire a financial professional who can give you some logical advice, because that is not logical. And even if you look year to date, Tesla stock is down $91 so far this year in 2025. That's a 24% dip this year. However, if you zoom out to 1 year total, meaning this time last year to this time this year, Tesla stock is up 62%. Okay, so I just want to give you all some logical things to think about here. When you invest in stocks, and this is not financial advice, that your thing when you invest in stocks is that you're not watching the pot. As they know how they say, a watch pot doesn't boil, and there's some arguments on the other side of that. But when you invest in a stock, you invest in it for the long term. Had you invested in Tesla back in, had you invested in Tesla back in July of 2010, the stock price at that time, July of 2010, was $1.30. In July of 2010, Tesla stock was worth $1.30. Today, Tesla stock is worth $288.14. So let's just say you had 10 shares. You can do the math on that. Okay. That's how you invest in things. Investment is a long-term thing. And again, this is not financial advice. Please speak to your tax attorney or your lawyer or your financial professional if you want specific advice. But the price of a stock going down over 3 months is not indicative of very much. If you had owned Tesla stock, and by the way, that increase from 2010 to now is a 22,410% increase in stock value over the last, again, 15 years. Now, let's just zoom in a little bit. Let's say the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, Tesla stock is up 740%. Over the last year, Tesla stock is up 62%. And here, I'll tell you something about myself. I don't even like electric vehicles. I do not like electric vehicles. I will not buy an electric vehicle. I'm not driving an electric vehicle. I'm not a fan. I don't like the way they look. I don't like the concept of my car being all electronic because I'm putting my conspiracy hat on here that somehow the companies and the government could get control of it and could know where my car is at, and they can track my car everywhere it goes, and they can tell me, well, Dre, you said something bad about the government yesterday, so you can't drive here, but you could drive here. You can only go 5 miles today. You got to stay within your zone. On a conspiracy theory level, I don't like electric vehicles for that. I also don't like the way they look, and I just don't like the concept. I like my gas-powered vehicles. Every time I'll